Hi, today we will discuss the most important topic nowadays, the suicide prevention and awareness. I am Kido Lerio, and together with me are my colleagues, Ms. Hagonoy, Garcia, Gucor, Jimenez, and Landas. Suicide and attempted suicide. Suicide is an act of deliberate, self-inflicted, intentional taking of one's own life. Attempted suicide, or commonly known as parasuicide, is the act of self-intentional injury carried out by a person to die but survive. According to suicide statistic facts, nearly 800,000 people died by suicide in the world each year, which is roughly one death every 40 seconds. Suicide is the second leading cause of death in the world for those aged 15 to 24 years old.
Please join me to welcome our first speaker, Ms. Jimenez Rosa.
Common myth and misconception. Suicide happens without a warning. Almost everyone who commits suicide has given some clue or warning. You just missed it. People who attempt suicide really want to die. Rather than wanting to die, they just wanted the pain to stop. Maybe you could have helped them to stop. Suicide happens without a warning. But the fact is that you just missed it. Almost everyone who commits suicide has given some clue or warning. In fact, we have learned that when someone may open about suicidal topic, it is already a sign for us that the things is running through their head or they wanted us to know in direct way. No one wanting to die. It is just because we think that we die is the answer to solve and stop the struggle that they face at that time. Because they feel stuck to such multiple situations and become depressed and lost motivation to fight. People who talk about suicide want to really do it. Talking about suicide can be a plea for help and it can be a sign in the progression toward a suicide attempt. People who die by suicide are unwilling to seek help. They actually want to die. More than 50% of suicide victims try to get help before attempting suicide. Even a severely depressed person has a mixed feelings about death, fluctuating between wanting to live and wanting to die. Just like what I've said earlier, we learned that if someone open up a topic about suicide, it's actually a sign of what is going through their mind. That is why being educated and aware of signs of suicidal thoughts will be a help to each other. Because many think that those who commit suicide really wanted to die, but in fact, no one wants to. They just wanted to stop the situation where they also feel that no one may hear them and will invalidate to what they feel, and that is why they keep them only to themselves. All suicidal individuals are mentally ill. Most of the suicidal people are not psychotic or insane. They are upset, grief-stricken, despaired, and extremely distressed. Talking about suicide may give someone the idea. You don't give suicidal ideas to someone by talking about suicide. Rather, talking openly and honestly about suicidal thoughts and feelings can save a life.
Next up, our next speaker is Ms. Hagunoy Kathleen.
Here are the warning signs of suicide. First, feeling depressed or sad most of the time. Second, feeling hopeless, expressing hopelessness. withdrawing from family and friends. Fourth, sleeping too much or too little. And fifth, making overt statements like, I can't take it anymore and I wish I were dead. Six, making covert statements like, it's okay now, everything will be fine, and I won't be a problem for much longer. 7. Losing interest in most activities. 8. Giving away prized possessions. 9. Being preoccupied with death or dying. 10. Making out a will. 11. Getting affairs in order. 12. Neglecting personal hygiene. And lastly, self-destructive behavior.
And our next speaker is Miss Landas Christine.
When it comes to assessing risks, both behavioral clues and situational clues play important roles. Behavioral clues refers to the action or behavior of individual that may indicate a potential risk. For example, if someone is engaging in reckless or impulsive behavior, it could be a behavioral clue that they are more prone to taking risks. On the other hand, situational clues refers to the context or circumstances in which a person finds himself that may increase the likelihood of risks. For instance, being in a high-pressure or dangerous environment can be a situational clue that increase the risk factor. It's important to consider both behavioral and situational clues when assessing risks because they provide different perspectives. While behavioral clues can give insight into an individual tendencies and decision-making patterns, situational clues provide information about external factors that can influence behavior. Ultimately, it is a combination of both behavior and situational clues that can help determine who may be at high risk in contained situations. It is important to approach risk assessment with open mind and consider multiple factors to make a more accurate judgment.
A warm welcome to our next speaker, Mr. Garcia Isaac.
So, good morning each and everyone with this friend, Zach Garcia. For today's video, we're going to talk about suicidal methods. What is suicidal methods? Suicidal methods is by which a person can kill or end their life. Yeah. So, suicidal attempts do not always result in death, and even fatal suicide attempts can be serious physical injury, along with health problems and mental problems. Although suicide patterns are very common country to country, there are three predominant suicide methods around the world. So there are the three, includes hanging, pesticide poisoning, and firearms. These are the three commons. And some suicide can be prevented by removing these substances. So, reducing the availability of common suicide methods and lead to lower overall suicide rates. And how to achieve there? Another method includes restricting access to pesticides, firearms, and drugs can be used. And there are reported measurements of how to reduce suicidal and other gun-related deaths in many countries rather. Other precautions are not method specific in this include support, access to treatment, and cold crisis hotlines. So, these are several conventional therapies to reduce suicidal thoughts and behaviors regarding to a method that such as vertical behavior therapy research suicide methods to aim identify the most commonly used method and group of risk suicide. So making method this accessibility may help prevent suicide. So the World Health Organization reports that suicide and prevention recommends limiting access to touch pesticides and firearms. Early detection of mental awareness, such as tools as pesticide and firearms. Early detection of mental and substance abuse to disorders. Follow-up care for suicide attempts and responsibility of media and correspondent and important reducing suicidal deaths, such as information allows in public health resources to focus in relative to specific occasions and specific populations or populations. For example, if firearms are used in a specific number of suicide occasions, local public health policy may focus on the gun safety and keep weapons insecure and prevent vulnerable members of using it. Thank you.
Let's turn our attention to Miss Gokor Nori Jane.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am Narjane Tikokor and let's talk about racing and suicide prevention. Racing involved in mental preparation, setting achieving goals, and maintaining a healthy lifestyle. Suicide, a mental health crisis, requires compassion and support. To prevent it, a culture of openness and understanding is needed, breaking down stigma, encouraging seeking help, and promoting self care practices like meditation and therapy. Commonly, members should listen without judgment, offer support, and shows empathy. Both topics are important.
So, who can help us when we see the warning and signs of suicide? It's the healthcare services, mental health care professionals, the psychiatrists, psychologists, and social workers, and even the counselors. And where to seek help? In Vandrabella Foundation Helpline, I asked Ram, Sneha, and the ICO.
To all people who are listening and watching this video, suicide is never a solution. There is always a help. Take any suicidal thought or behavior seriously. It's not just a warning sign that a person is thinking about suicide, it's a cry for help.